だか。
それジャッジメント。はっへいそら決闘せよ。やっそこ粉々よ。それ砕け散れ。やっそれ痛がっちゃいないよ。よっとさふんそそう 星と神、無事今日の星と神、それ。部外石、決闘せよ。総合の恩、目には目を。ふっ、粉々よ。はっよっ。この同点。同点につい
しばらくポワソン町に行ってないな。今日はあそこに行ってみるか？
早く。おさわり禁止、風雪の祝図。わめきなさい。やっ、そこよっ、そら砕け散れ。はい、兵糧のようにうなれ。よっ、粉々よ。それはっ、やっ、
私を厳しおい旅人パイモン。 ここだよ。
I mean, actually, I just did the Lynette's hangout event like within the week, which Linny appears in. So, but obviously, that's just what they have to say.
嬉しいよ。
Because technically, we haven't seen them like, very recently, story-wise, and I think even with the story going on, I think they are assuming that like as much time passes in the real world as we are between patches. So it's like, oh yeah, it's been a few weeks since we saw you because we interacted with them in the last story patch, perhaps.
こっちこそ驚いたぜ。あ、もしかしてリネ
実は家でちょっとしたトラブルがあって。
ットとフレミン
ああ、ハウス・オブ・ハースの大半がこっちに移ってきたよ。
ボア村長にこんなにたくさん越してくるなんて。
それは興味があるようであれば私が答えよ
うわー、びっくりした。
う。お父様いらっしゃったんですね。
おいらたち
Oh, that was a typo. Father was in quotation marks, but the comma was inside the quotation marks. It was quotation mark father, comma, quotation mark. It should have been quotation mark father, quotation mark, comma. Oh, game's unplayable.
緊張することはない。君たちのそれに君たちが心中に疑念を抱いていることも知っている。多くのファディ気持ちはわかる。何せ君たちは今までファディとだが少なくとも今はやり合う理由がない。
Yeah, I mean, like, the Fatui just have been assholes in general. Because they're like the epitome of the ends justify the means. So essentially what it seems like they're trying to do is they're trying to rebel against the heavens. And so they're like, okay, well, we need these things. Like, we need the Gnosis to do this. So we have to do whatever it takes to do this. And we have to keep our influence out there, doing all these things just to make sure that we can, keep progressing towards our goal no matter the cost. Which, not surprisingly, will rub some people the wrong way. And, their diplomacy has been shit at best. And maybe Child doing what he did in Leeway was unintentional. Maybe that wasn't sanctioned by them properly. Although maybe it was, because it seemed like that maybe was the deal that Zhongli had done with Child to kind of make sure Leeway was prepared and ready to deal with the trials and tribulations of living without a god watching over them. But I don't know, it's kind of weird because we don't really know like Zhongli was like, oh yeah, I was always ready there to protect you guys in the end if you turned out you weren't able to. But it does beg the question is, well, was he aware of what specifically was going to happen? Was he aware that they were trying to release the whorl, that god beneath the sea, and it was going to attack Leeway? Was he aware of that and let it happen? Or he's even complicit in that? He said, hey, could you do this so that we can, test the city? In that case, I would say, okay, well, it's not really Child's fault, even though he acted like a complete asshole during the process. If the plan wasn't his and he was just following through with a request as what he had to do to get the Gnosis, I guess that's more understandable. But Signora stealing Venti's Gnosis was obviously kind of a dick move. But maybe she's a rogue. Oh, actually, no, the Doctor was kind of an asshole, too. So it's we've seen enough assholes, and we've seen the Fatui act like assholes far too many times. So it's hard to say that they are completely benevolent. And that's why I think it's kind of extreme us versus them mentality. It's they're going to be fighting against the gods, so they're going to have to do whatever it takes, which, leads them to doing things more brashly than they should, perhaps. But... so, we'll see. Let's see. So, Natlan's next, then Snezhnaya. Obviously, the Snezhnaya arc, I imagine, is going to be... we're going to learn a lot more about their motivation. I think we're just going to learn, they're going to fight against Celestia. That's their whole point. That's why they're gathering the Gnosis. Maybe power cannon, or maybe the Gnosis can be used to, drag Celestia down. Act as, chains that will drag it back down to the ground, and then they start the war. Hard to say, but at least we'll know more about the Sarita, their motivations, why they're doing this, what they're trying to do, more secrets about the world. And then the chapter after that is the Conrail one, so I'm like, it's curious, is it going to be us blasting back to the past? Is it a resurrection of Conria? Hard to say. So, yeah, I mean, and that's still like years away. So we're going to get into Atlan sometime this year. Well, not sometime this year, later, like a few months from now. And then it'll be about a year before Snaya, and then about another year beyond that before Conria, maybe, if they still call it Conria. So it's like, yeah, are we actually going to old Conria, or are we just going to the ruins of current Conria? Maybe piecing back together the pieces of like what happened in the past and our continued fight against Celestia. Who knows? So we'll see. But still, that's like obviously 2.5 years away. So it will be difficult to know how it's going to go. But yeah, I mean, they just act like assholes far too frequently, and far too unscrupulously. They're far too unscrupulous, often, which makes them essentially just untrustworthy. So it's just like, yeah, we can't really trust you because at any point, whatever trust we have, you're willing to break that and do whatever the fuck you want if it benefits you more. So like that's the problem. So you can't really trust them because they don't really. Well, I guess they can trust you, but they're also like ends justify the means. So it's just like, yeah, at any point they can just cut off all connection with you and leave, which makes them inherently untrustworthy because no matter how much you trust them, they can just still say fuck off and steal something of yours and run away and be like, oh, well, I need to do that, so fuck you. So that's why I don't trust them. It makes me very skeptical about everything. Because while it might benefit the world as a whole, perhaps, maybe destroying Celestia will help the world overall, it's just like we don't know why. We don't know what they're basing it off of. It might be based off nothing. It's vindictiveness, so they're like, Celestia has guided humanity far too long, we want to break free of the yoke. And that's it. Like, they have no actual purpose, no goal. They just want to be free in and of itself. And it's like, okay, but like, is the world in its current state that bad? Is what we're risking worth it? What is freedom? How is our freedom being restricted at the moment? Like, maybe it's with the dispersal of visions. Maybe they're giving away visions at their discretion, so it's not. So maybe that's how we're not free, is that not everyone can have the power of visions. Only those, given them by God. But then again, we don't even know if it's personally God. Like, it's not like Venti was giving out all the Animo visions, or Zhongli either. So it's not like they were personally doing all this shit. So it's hard to tell if that's also by, if that's done by Celestia. Are they manually doing that, handing out visions to every single person? Is there a automated system in place, or is this just like part of the laws of the world, like unrelated to Celestia? Maybe giving away visions was something that happened even before Celestia, got into power, and they stole the power from the dragons. Maybe visions. I mean, or maybe it's the creation of the Gnosis. Maybe taking the power from the dragons, creating the Gnosis from the body of a former traveler. Was what created the system that led to visions being automatically created. I don't know. It's kind of weird because obviously we saw like what happened in Fontaine, and with Fontaine it was like, oh hey, Celestia fucked over the Maricine, not the Maricine, the Oceanids, because the Oceanids tried to take human form. Celestia came down and like punish them, but again, like it's so vague. Like, did they actually? Was it like literally Celestia punishing them, or did they just like maybe they just violated the natural order, and so the natural order rebelled? Like maybe it's maybe it's like like white blood cells. Maybe it wasn't like maybe Celestia is the heart or the brain, but Oceanids did this thing, and they were attacked by the white blood cells. Like the heart and the brain, or the brain, let's say the brain. The brain doesn't, command the white blood cells to attack this shit, The brain doesn't consciously do this stuff. So, while in their inscriptions they were like, yeah, they got punished by Celestia. Maybe were they actually punished by Celestia, or was it just, they flew in the face of the laws of the world, and the laws of the world pushed back automatically? Hard to say. Hopefully we'll learn more about that, when we get into Snezhnaya, maybe the Conria arc as well. I am curious about the lore of the world.
どんな噂なんだ？
ハウス・オブ・ハースに存在しない子供が一人いる。
存在しない子？
とっくにこの世を去っているはずの亡霊がハウスだから子供たちをポア村長に移し詳しく調べようと思ったんだ。じきに見つかるだ。もしもまだ気になることや心配事があるのならしばらくここに滞在してリネ客人のもてなしは任せた。はい、お父様。
Oh, they fucked it up again. They put the punctuation within the parenthesis. I mean, not parentheses, quotation marks. It was quotation mark father, period, quotation mark. Whoopsie. Look at that, or I'm rushing through so quickly and I'm missing. But it looked like the period was within the quotation mark.
僕も君たちをハウス・オブ・ハースに招待。君たちの名前はハウス・オブ・ハースでもいい。もしよかったらおしゃ。
おう、いいぜ。特に用事もないしな。
もちろんさ。今はポア村長の一角を借りて住んでるから。さ、まずは仮ず。この部屋は地元の人から借りたんだけど、臨時の拠点として使ってるんだ。後で片付けておくから、君たちはここにと。
ありがとな。
さっき君たちと会った時、僕はポア村長に滞在している子はかなり多いから、時々日用品を外から仕入れないと。
なるほど。お前たちに関する噂はいっぱい聞くけど、どれ普段の様子を見られるせっかくのチャンスだし。
Well, no, like, that's, I mean, while her point isn't 100% wrong, it's also incredibly naive, right? Oh, also you say the daily life. No. The daily life of these people, the daily life of spies is incredibly ordinary. Like, 99% of a spy's and assassin's life is very normal. It's that 1% when they're actually doing their crimes, and that's when, like, I don't doubt that this is a great orphanage. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that they are also trained. But in a world like this, where being trained in martial arts or some form of self-defense is normal, right? The world's a shitty place. We're gonna have to, train you so that you guys can survive on your own when you leave the orphanage. Quote unquote, leave the orphanage. But in reality, what happens is the best of the best stay, and they contract out for assassination to the spies. Like, we've seen multiple instances where Linny and Lynette went out around spying. Like, we saw them in the fortress of Meripidae, in prison. They're spying, They are spies. Like, we literally saw that. Like, them being there was shady as fuck. They should not be there. They are just children in an orphanage. Like, they shouldn't be there, And they are essentially a foreign organization, right? The Fatui are a foreign organization. Sure, the House of Hearth might be based in Fontaine, maybe. Or it could just be a branch of a House of Hearth in Snezhnaya, I'm not sure. But either way, they are a Fatui organization. They are a Snezhnayan organization. And you infiltrated a prison to spy. Like, that already shows that these are untrustworthy people. We don't need to see the day in the life, because 90% of the time, they're going to be normal children, normal people. It's during that 10% where they are spying or killing. That's the time that we need to see, and they're not going to bring us along for that. They're not, we're not going to go out in the field and be like, some guy's going to come up, hey, Linny, I have an assassination mission for you. It's, oh, assassination mission? Well, need to get some groceries. Why don't we go kill this guy first, and then we'll pick up groceries and go home? Like, that's not going to happen. You know, it's going to be some secret coded thing. We're going to pick up groceries. We're going to go back, and then he's going to say, "Oh, I got to step out for a bit. I forgot a piece of fruit," and he's going to go out and kill that person and bring back the piece of fruit. Like that's what's going to happen. And so from our perspective, it's like, oh, we had a normal life. Just went out for groceries, came back. He stepped out for a bit, came back. You know, like it's just naive. Obviously, Paimon is naive, but like we don't need to see. We saw them spying. We saw foreign agents spying in a prison. They literally said they were there to spy. They were there to find the secret of the prison. You know, and sure, well, Arlechino, you could argue Arlechino was doing it because of the prophecy and shit, but like that's kind of a means to an ends type thing. It's like, oh yeah, yes, it's fine to spy in a foreign country because you're worried about the country's thing. It's like, well, that's an after the fact type thing. Because it's just a prophecy. Prophecy doesn't mean shit. So it's just like, you know, it's an after-the-fact thing of, oh, yes, now that we know the prophecy was real, now we're justified in doing what we did. It's like, no. Like, all you had was just a vague rumor with no actual known truth about it, and you used that as the justification to break into a foreign military installation and spy. Like, that's bad. They've already proven themselves bad people because good people don't do that. And you could argue, well, we were there too. It's like, yeah, true, but we weren't there for shits and giggles. We were literally asked by the government to do so. You know, Nouvelette asked us to do this. And maybe Furina? I think maybe it's just Nouvelette. But either way, Nouvelette is like, you know, the ruler of the country. And when the ruler of the country says, hey, can you go in and do this, we're not really spying. We're also not really affiliated with any other country. Like, these guys are affiliated with a foreign country that has very aggressive policies. It's just like, yeah, like, it's not good.
全部ここだよ。もしもし。どうしたの？
旅人とパイモン。本当だ。みんな来て。旅人様とパイモンお姉様が遊びに来てくれたわ。
ちょっと待ってよ。
And like, I don't even assume that every single orphan is a spy, right? I assume like some of these orphans like just don't have the aptitude or desire to spy or assassinate, so they just are, you know, given to proper homes. Like that's how it acts as such a good cover. If literally every child you bring in becomes an assassin or spy, like then people would really start to notice and care. But only, you know, when you only have a few of them, just to maintain the base of operations as a intelligence operation. Like, that's all you really need, and it looks like a good front. Where only like a few of them could actually be spies, and then the other act as a cover.
旅人の姉ちゃんは力がパイモンお姉様はちょっと待った。そうだ。お客さんが別にいいぞ。遠慮しないで。それかシャプロ兄ちゃんに
ああ、いいアイディアだな。君たちは正面突破に慣れてるだろうけど、スキルを身につけといて損は毒にやられてからは前ほど機敏に動けなくなったけど、そばです。
ちょっと待て。なんで急にこれが俺たちが出せる一番。じゃあこうしよう。嫌いなやつの名前を教えてくれ。
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, why are you surprised by this? Linny, Lynette, and Fremine are all spies, and they're our introduction to this organization. Like, you shouldn't even need to see the rest of them. This actually just makes it even worse, because as I was saying, some of them could be used as a front, right? Some of them could just be, oh yeah, they're there, but they're not really trained. They don't have the aptitude or don't have the desire, and so they're just able to live as normal children and get adopted. But like the fact that every single one of them is like this kind of makes it seem like, yeah, they maybe don't even have the option to not be a spy. Every single one of them. I mean, we're also survivorship bias too. There could have been people who didn't want to be a spy and got adopted, and they're not here because they got adopted. And the only ones who remained are the ones who actually wanted to stay. So it's hard to say. We don't have enough information to know one way or the other. But the fact that all of them here are doing that at the very least, makes it, not good. But the fact is, like, we should already be aware of this. So shouldn't be a surprise to us that this is happening. I mean, obviously we're naive, so we maybe didn't think of it to this degree. So maybe we're going to open our eyes, but I doubt it. Like, that is the one kind of big difference between this game and Honkai Star Rail, is that this game is kind of more childish in a way, in the sense that the protagonists are just far more naive and, childlike. We're just kind of like naive, going with the flow. Like, yeah, sure, like, it's like very shonen type stuff. It's very anime of, power of friendship type bullshit of, like, yeah, we're gonna rally together and beat the boss, whereas Honkai Star Rail is far more gritty and, like, horrible shit happens in the world and we're just kind of along for the ride type thing, which I like that vibe a little more, but it doesn't mean I don't like this story. But there are definitely some times where the story is like they just act so dumb just to progress the story along, where they just like, oh, okay, rather than do the easiest, most logical choice, I'm going to act this way so that the story progresses. I don't like that. I'd rather them write a better rationale. Although, if it's within the characters, like if the character acts dumb because they are dumb, like their character setting is dumb, technically that's acting within the story, that is within their character profile, their character settings, so I get it. But it does suck when they make that person, us, the main character, who we're supposed to kind of identify with, right? We're supposed to say, hey, that's me, I'm this person. And when you have that person then do stupid things because they are written to not understand the best way to do something, it's fine. Like, it's usually a minor thing. It's usually just like, that's kind of weird, it's kind of odd, but, like, not really game-breaking, not really a huge problem. But still, like, obviously wish they worked a little better. That's why I kind of like the Honkai Star Rail too, because, like, Honkai Star Rail, you can just act silly. Like, I usually like to choose the silly options, and even for this game, I'll do the silly options. But, like, the silly options here are just, generally tamer, and the Honkai Star Rail ones are just generally a little cooler. But, I mean, either game's good. I mean, unfortunately, it's because Paimon's the spokesperson. So, like, Paimon's an idiot. And Paimon's a known idiot. So Paimon being stupid is just normal because that's her character setting. But it doesn't make what she says any less stupid. So this can be a little cringe sometimes when she acts a specific way, just to progress the plot along.
アイロワールは薬に異常な執着を持ってる。調合した薬を自分で飲むことはお父様に禁じられ、シャプローは僕と同年代で、僕は情報収集担当だけど、彼は監視を。
Yeah, I mean, look at this. He's literally saying, yes, this person's a sociopath. This person's probably going to poison someone. I'm an intelligence operative from another country in a foreign country. Like, they only have the best of intentions. Like, you're literally in another country spying on them. Like, there are no good intentions behind that. Like, that is bad intentions. You don't do that with good intentions. And that's not to say that these people are bad or evil by any stretch of the imagination. But it is said, what I am saying is that, like, if you are spying on a foreign country, those are bad intentions. There are no good intentions behind that. Because you could argue, oh, well, no, like, we need to know these things because, we need to know these things so in case something goes wrong, blah, blah, blah. In case something happens, we're there to handle it. Like, in case they, declare war. And it's, I mean, you could argue it's a matter of perspective. Because obviously in this instance, you're saying, well, we're here so that we can protect ourselves. So we value ourselves more than them, which, makes sense. It's us versus them mentality. It's how humans are programmed to be. We'll value people we identify with over people we don't identify with. That's why, like, racism exists. It's because, oh, they're slightly different? Okay, well, I'm going to value people who look like me versus people who don't. And that's why you get those unconscious biases, in addition to the flat-out actual biases, overt biases. But, like, So it's just like, yeah, but it's still bad intentions. Like you're operating under you're operating in bad faith because you're operating under the assumption that they're going to the other group is going to fuck you over. That's why you're there. You're there so that you can catch that group fucking you over, or you can catch the early signs of them trying to fuck you over, so that you can retaliate or defend yourself. And sure, well, it's the most offensive way to be defensive, right? Because you're actually invading another country to steal their information so that you can defend yourself with it. And now, regardless, you still might defend yourself with it by launching a preemptive strike, which obviously is a purely offensive thing. So it's like, yeah, in that case, still the best defense is a good offense. So it's like, yeah, it's just you're operating on the assumption, the spying is operating on the assumption that the other country is going to fuck you over, somewhat. And like even the United States, like we put spies in countries friendly to us because it's like, yeah, like we just do it. It's operating in bad faith. There are definitely bad intentions. Like there's no good intentions behind any of that shit. But it's good. But like from our perspective, from the in group, right? Where it's good intentions. Oh yes, we're protecting ourselves. It's like, yeah, you're protecting yourselves, but like that's your justification, not the intention. Like maybe you don't intend to hurt people, but you would if the need arose. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's obviously silly. Like, I'm like you can be nice people. Like even the best people can still do bad things for a quote unquote good cause. It's the whole justice type thing where it's like, yeah, you could be a very good, moral, ethical person, but then you go into a foreign country and murder someone, right? Like SEAL Team 6 killing Osama bin Laden, right? Like murder is in theory bad according to God and all the laws, right? Like God says no murder. Most countries' laws say no murder. But what the fuck did we do? Well, we took a bunch of good people, presumably. I mean, I don't know SEAL Team 6 personally, so maybe they weren't good, but like took a bunch of good people and went over and murdered someone. Like the good intentions were good. Yes, we're helping many people by killing them, but like what they did was bad. And yeah, it's the ends justify the means type thing. It's like, oh, the means kind of do matter on some level. I mean, if they want to just do this and say, no, we're a bunch of assholes, like we're doing this with bad intentions, we're assuming you guys are going to fuck us over, and we want to have the edge when that happens, or if that happens. Fine, if you want to admit that and say yeah, but like the fact that they said, oh, we don't have bad intentions, like, no, you do, you 100% do. You just currently don't have any intention to do bad, but you are doing, your existence here is bad, with bad intention. You're able to and are willing to do bad things for your goals. So your mere presence here is rife with bad intentions. But anyway, that's not the point. I'm going to go ahead and call it a day for now. I will be back on later to do more, not of Arlechino's. I'll probably keep doing Arlechino's quest during my workout and do the exploration shit at night when I have more time. Until I'm done with that, and then I'll just do Arlechino shit. But anyway. I need a lot more. I'm already kind of capped out in my... Yeah, I can do 2 more. I mean, I could max her out, but whatever. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. Well, I'll call it a session. I will be back on later today. Thank you all for watching. I will see you.